Okay, so we're going to go ahead and disassemble the firearm one more time. Go ahead and remove the rear pin. We'll remove our locking block pin. And we'll remove our trigger pin. Remember what we said, if you wiggle this slide stop, it will normally allow that pin to fall right out. Move our slide stop. Give our locking block just a little bit of a pry. And we can go ahead and remove our trigger assembly. Now that we have our trigger assembly out, we can do much like we did before. Again, we have your trigger bar, which we just twist and pull out to disengage it. Now another thing that you need to pay note of is when you look at your trigger assembly from the right, you'll see that your trigger spring has an S, the curve and the curve. This is extremely important when you install these these springs. If you install them incorrectly, it will cause binding. So again, make sure you have that S when you install that spring. So we'll go ahead and remove the trigger bar from the factory spring. And we'll go ahead and remove the factory spring from the trigger assembly. Here we have our extra power spring, 6-pound trigger spring. Install that onto the trigger housing. Back in there. And again, notice that we have the S shape. Get us back in there. Twist to the left. Back in. Our assembly is ready to put back in the gun. So we have our trigger assembly ready to reinstall into the firearm. So again, notice that your locking block is somewhat up. This allows the trigger to fall in unobstructed. Put your trigger assembly back into the receiver. Force everything down. Everything looks good and flush. Push down your locking block. Install the rear pin. Install your slide stop. Install your trigger pin. Then you'll install your locking block pin. Remember to bring the spring down. That should rest underneath your locking block pin. And there you go, back together. Ooh, that does feel a little bit better. And one thing you'll notice too is our reset is now very short. So that's pretty interesting. So let's give this one a whirl with the trigger pull gauge and see if we gained any ground. Well, so far for this investment we've gotten about 2 pounds off the original trigger pull of what it came from the factory. I still have a lot of polishing I can do to the gun. I can smooth that up. It's not always about trigger pull. The quick reset and the repeatable feel that you have now is worth the price of admission right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.